everyone, this is Rabbitearsblog, and welcome to another TV episode review series. So today's TV episode we'll be reviewing today is the gifted episode Exodus. And before I get into my thoughts about this episode, I would like to remind everyone that new videos will be posted up every Sunday. It could be Sunday morning, Sunday night, or Sunday evening, depending on when I can get the videos posted up. And if you happen to see any videos posted up during the week, that must mean there was a bit of movie or TV show news that was released during the week that I wanted to cover. So those would be considered special videos. But new videos will be posted up every Sunday. And every Monday I will have the TV episode roundup videos, and that's where I go over all the episodes I review for the week, and I list it from worst pick of the week to best pick of the week, and those will be posted every Monday. So now let's get into this episode of the gifted Exodus. So what happens in this episode is that we see that Caitlin wants to try to help out the mutants more, and she says she knows somebody outside the mutant organization that can help them out. And Marcos and John are like, no, you can't go out to the you can't go out of this building because there's people out there who are like hunting us, and you can't really trust anybody outside of this this organization. And Caitlin's like, oh no, I'm gonna go and find this person anyway. And I think this person is her brother, I believe, but I can't be too sure. But Caitlin decides to take her kids with her to find her brother and to see if he can help them out with their situation. And meanwhile, we see that Reed is being blackmailed to trying to find the mutant organization and by the Sentinel program, and that this is in order to help him find his family. Of course, they said, you know, if you don't help us find the mutant organization, we're going to hurt your family. And so Reed didn't have a choice but to lead the Sentinel program, the people in the Sentinel program, into the mutant organization. And while that happens, Reed starts to see the other mutant characters, and he's like, you know, I shouldn't be doing this. You know, I shouldn't be leading all these mutants into their doom or whatever. And we get to see how Reed is like struggling with that decision throughout the episode. And meanwhile, we see that Blink is still struggling with her teleportation powers, and we get to meet this new female mutant who's able to implant false memories into people. And it appears that she might have a plan that can help Blink with her teleportation powers. But at the same time, John is like, you know, telling the female mutant, you know, you should never plant false memories into other people, because the last time you did that, it had consequences. And so that's what the episode was all about. Basically Caitlin trying to go to her brothers to find help, Reed trying to figure out, you know, Reed being blackmailed to trying to find the mutant organization by the Sentinel program, and Blink still trying to deal with her teleportation powers and the consequences of what happened in the last episode. So what are my thoughts about this episode? I really enjoyed this episode. Like, there's a lot of things that happen in this episode. Like, we see Caitlin's side of the story about how she's trying to find help for the mutant organization. We see Reed's side of the story as he's being blackmailed to finding the mutant organization. And then we see Blink's side of the story. She's trying to deal with her teleportation powers. And I like how all these storylines kind of wrap up into one episode and still connect with each other. Like, I like the fact that we get to see from both sides, from Caitlin's perspective and from Marcos and John's perspective, about why they can't get help from the outside of the mutant organization. And Caitlin feels like she's trying to help the mutant organization by trying to follow the law and trying to get find help within the government that could help them out with this situation. But Marcos and John are like, you know, you can't really trust anybody outside the mutant organization, because there's a lot of people who are out hunting us, and, you know, we don't want to expose ourselves to the government. So I can understand for both sides of the story that, you know, they want to help the mutant organization the best way they know how. Like, Caitlin's like, you know, we can get help from within the government, while John and Marcos are like, you know, we gotta stay hidden from the government so they can't catch us. So I can understand from both sides of their story about why they feel like what they're doing is for the best of the mutant community. And meanwhile, we see little bits of Polaris in this episode. Like, I was quite worried for her in the last episode. She was like beaten up savagely in the by the other prison inmates, and I wondered to myself, you know, how is she going to survive in prison with that neck brace that prevents her from using her powers, and how is that going to affect her baby that she's carrying for Marcos? So I am curious about Polaris' storyline. I hope we get to see more of that in future episodes. And then I like how they gave Reed this dilemma about whether or not it's right for him to lead the other mutants into the Sentinel program without them knowing. And you get to see that Reed starts to see that the mutants are innocent people who are, you know, just being hunted for no reason just because they're mutants. And we get to see a more sympathetic side to Reed as he discovers, you know, maybe I shouldn't be leading these mutants into their doom or anything like that. And I enjoy how this episode really delved into that. And I also like the fact that this episode introduced some new mutant characters, like the female mutant who's able to implant false memories into people. And I like to see more of her character in future episodes and see if she's going to be one of the good mutants or the bad mutants, or she was good all along, but then she turns bad later on. So I am interested in her character, and I hope we get to see more mutant characters be fleshed out in later episodes besides Marco's, Clarice, Blink, and John. So yeah, I'm definitely hoping to see what other mutants they got in this show and how they're going to display their powers overall. So overall, I gave this episode 4.75 stars. I thought it was a really intense episode, and it really introduced a more wider scale about what's going on in this universe. And I can't wait to see more characters come from this universe and how they're going to deal with the mutant with all the Sentinel programming that's going on in their world. So have you seen this episode? Again, I gave this episode 4.75 stars. So, have you seen this episode, The Gifted? And if you have, did you like the episode? Did you hate the episode? Please feel free to comment below, and don't forget to follow me on Twitter so I can keep you updated on any new videos I post up. And also, like my Facebook page, Rabbitearsblog's Best Comments. Well, I hope you enjoyed this video. This is Rabbitearsblog, and I'll see you later.